What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, coach of your Montreal Milotic, and we got a bit of an echo here for Game of the Week for week number 5 of the Oshean League. Welcome back. We are back for yet another Game of the Week. This week we got 2 great games for you guys. Again, I haven't seen them. We're going in blind as usual, and hopefully it's going to be a fantastic game. I am sitting at a brand new setup, so there is a bit of an echo. I apologize for that. Going to see if we can resolve that either in post or if it's going to be able to be, fixed with something, because I really don't want to have to deal with an echo. But let's go ahead and jump into the matchups here. As always, do me a favor, leave a like on the video if you do enjoy. Comment your thoughts on the 2 battles that we're going to have down in the comments, and of course subscribe to the channel if you have not already. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it with our first match, which is going to be just Lucas against Zane. Now, looking at these teams here, we've got some very scary Pokemon on the rosters. Urshifu, Single Strike, Mew, Tapu Fini, Landorus, Therian, all on one team. That's crazy. Plus the Hail Core of Vanillix and Archezolt. Vanillix also gets access to Aurora Veil. I'm pretty sure it does at least. So it should be able to set up pretty freely that, I guess, for Zane's team to allow Urshifu to just go in. And honestly, once the Diancie is weakened or gone, ideally, the Urshifu just puts in so much work. Yes, Zapdos does outspeed it. It's got base 100 speed, fires off a powerful Brave Birds or close combats or thunderous kicks or whatever. It's still very solid. And at the end of the day, Landorus, this is the problem. Landorus, it would wall Zapdos if it did not get Defiant, and that is a problem for Zane's team. He does have a Mew though, which could be able to be a really solid check to Zapdos. And then there's the Diancie that he has to deal with as well, which at the end of the day, he doesn't really have the best answers to. Bronzong is decent, but it does get access to Mystical Fire now, so Zane's team is really pressured here just by the Diancie alone. And on top of that, he has access to a Gliscor, Lucas does, and that is incredible. Gliscor is one of the best Pokemon in the fully national dex tiered leagues, and it's very powerful. Got pretty decent stats all around, but the bulk on this thing is insane, with Poison Heal being 4 times weak to ice and no one having access to hidden power anymore. It is absolutely massive. It makes it so much more difficult for you to take down a Gliscor. This Pokemon gets access to U-Turn, gets access to Swords Dance. There's a lot that it can do, and it can honestly be a really big check to a lot of different things in the format. Honestly, it can probably beat down the Landorus, it can probably beat down the Urshifu. I would honestly see the Gliscor being probably the MVP of this game for Lucas, if the Diancie doesn't start popping off. Then there's the Hoopa. Hoopa is a little bit iffy, especially in this matchup, considering it's slower than most things here. It's slower than Salazzle, slower than Urshifu, Mew, Tapu Fini, Landorus. There's a lot that's slower than, so it could be a little bit hit or miss here, but if it gets in against something slower, then oh my god, it can really break a hole through this team, especially if it fires off like a powerful Dark Attack that is not going to be into the Urshifu. It shouldn't really be able to touch the Urshifu too badly outside of like a fighting move, and that's really it. So we'll see if the Hoopa even comes. Other than that though, Dracovish, really strong mon, could be very powerful this game. I'd probably have to bring the Fini and the Appleton to take care of it, both of them I'd say. And the reason for that is because if one of them gets weakened dealing with something like the Diancie or the Gliscor, then it's going to be a field day for the Dracovish. Glastrier, honestly, I don't think it gets Trick Room. It does. I'm pretty sure it doesn't, and I don't think he has any good setters available outside of the Hoopa, which isn't really like the best setter, to be honest, and Diancie, of course. But Diancie wants to be more offensive in terms of speediness and be faster, so doesn't really want to set Trick Room for much. Glastrier can really break as well because it's got an incredible ice typing. I'm pretty sure it gets access to a way to hit Tapu Fini, like either Seed Bomb or get Stomping Tantrum or something like, just something along those lines. And at the end of the day, if Fini is weakened, then the Glastrier really just goes in, especially with its Chilling Neigh ability. So we'll see what happens. It's bulky enough to take tons of hits, and I would not be surprised to see something just come in and take a ton of hits and then fire off a ton back. So looking at this fight to pick 6 mons from each team, I'm going to say for Lucas's team, we'll look at Diancie, Gliscor, we'll look at Dracovish, we'll look at Glastrier, Zapdos, that's 5, and then I'm going to say, I think at this point in time, he's kind of weak-ish to Freeze Dry, so Toxapex shouldn't be coming. I also don't like Copper Gel because it's free Urshifu fodder, so I'm going to say Cradily as the 6th mon. Then for Zane's team, Urshifu, Mew, Tapu Fini, Landorus are all going to be coming. I believe they're all really good mons here. Urshifu, even though it is beaten down pretty effectively by the Diancie, Scarf Urshifu still really goes in, and yes, there's a Toxapex, but at the end of the day, with access to a Tapu Fini that can defog on so much, a Landorus as well, which can beat down a Toxapex, I feel like it's still really good here to run a Scarf Urshifu, for example. Other than that, maybe the Durant can come. It outspeeds pretty much everything except for the Diancie, I believe, and it hits things for really good damage. Kind of walled by the Gliscor, but if you can chip down the Gliscor with something like Fini or Mew, or even Landorus to an extent with certain moves, then you can really go in, and I think that's 5. because I really like the Hail Core here, but I think that Vanillish is going to be the one that's coming as the number 6. So I'll say Urshifu, Mew, Tapu Fini, Durant, Landorus, and Vanillish as the 6 mons for Zane's team. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what he is going to be bringing for this battle and what Lucas is going to be bringing for this battle. As boom, there we go. Okay, so looking a little bit interesting here. It looks like, what was I missing? So it looks like I got Lucas's team right 100%. Zane's team I got off quite a bit, I believe. Yeah, no Urshifu, surprising. No Landorus here. Instead, he brings the double Hail Core here. He brings the Mew, the Appleton, all right, and Fini and Bronzong. Okay, so looking at this matchup here, what do I think is going to be the leads, or what do I lead with in these situations? I don't really know what the Mew set is, and because of that, I can't really make an assumption for Zane's team because it could just be a lead Mew. It could also just be a setup Mew, which you would not want to lead with. I think a very solid lead on Lucas's part, though, is going to be easily the Zapdos. It does get access to U-turn and it can hit things for really good damage. At the end of the day, with its coverage, it hits everything for neutral or better on this team, so it can be really solid. And then for Zane, because of that, I'd say what is the least, honestly, he has really no switch-ins to flying type attacks, so because of that, I would say Bronzong should be the lead here. So yeah, I'll say Bronzong versus Zapdos. Let's go ahead and jump into it. I'll put this to slow, and it is Bronzong against, am I right? I was right, there you go. So I'm expecting a U-turn here, as I am correct with the U-turn, and we're going to see what he goes into here, as it's the Gliscor. Maybe Rocks or Toxic is going to come out, as it's a Heavy Slime instead, which is going to do nothing to the Gliscor, and it is going to be Toxic Orb. Yes, it is going to be Toxic Orb. So it's very, very big. Getting that recovery and the knockoff, they're getting rid of all the recovery from the Bronzong is huge, as there's another Heavy Slime with a crit this time on the what is this thing called? Gliscor, that's it. So another now protect, and this is what Gliscor does. It protects us and skill swap, and he gets the protect on it. Wow, very interesting. I imagine that would have been a better set to do earlier on in the game, but hey, it is what it is. Mew's gonna come out now on the knockoff here, as it's gonna eat its Culber Berry. Nice, okay. I'm surprised that's the bring, but I guess it probably has an ice move, maybe. We'll see. But there's a nasty plot here. I'm assuming there was a protect that was expected, as there's going to be a facade now, only doing 28%. It's very little damage here, and this Mew could be very problematic for Lucas's team, as an Ice Beam comes out and it just OHKOs the Gliscor. So not scouting for the Ice Beam is huge. Making sure that, honestly, okay, I'll pause it here quickly, but not scouting for an Ice Beam in that situation is massive. If you didn't have to get, if Gliscor went down like it did, it makes things a lot more difficult to check something like the Appleton or the Bronzong. But at the end of the day, based on the fact that it has ice moves and that there's 2 ice types plus a Tapu Fini, I'm actually kind of okay with that play, because it really wasn't going to pull its weight too much. Yeah, it can be very bulky and take a couple hits, but at the end of the day, I definitely feel like it was going to be more of a sack throughout the game and just like a pivot. And considering that he didn't have U-turn, it looked like, I imagine it was going to be Roost, Protect, Facade, and Knockoff. That would have been pretty much all you needed. So without U-turn on it, there was really no reason to keep this thing around. So it makes sense. But in comes the Zapdos. I imagine it's going to be Choice Scarf and go for like a Brave Bird or something, as it is going to be going for Brave Bird, and the Mew survives and is going to go for what, a Roost? No, a Psychic, and it gets the KO on the Zapdos. So Mew picking up 2 early KOs by turn 7. That's really big against that juggernaut of a team. But in comes the Diancie. Diancie will outspeed. Is it carrying Bullet Punch? Let's see. It's going to be going for a Moonblast here and getting the KO on the Mew. So Mew does go down. It looks like it did not have access to Roost, so that's why he let it go. Anyways, Bronzong's going to come out. Bronzong is there to take hits from the Diancie, I guess, from dual stabs. But you're going to see Heavy Slam to the Glastrier to 16%. That is nothing. And now it goes for a skill swap, giving it the Levitate, taking away its Chilling Neigh so it cannot start snowballing, which makes a lot of sense. A really solid bring, as we're going to see a substitute here. Very interesting. Now in comes the Tapu Fini. I'm kind of surprised to see this. I don't know what the thought process was behind the skill swap there on the Glastrier, especially if you weren't going to really take advantage of it too much, but I guess it was just to prevent him from losing outright to it maybe. But a Moonblast's going to come out, it's going to get the KO on the sub, and Glastrier will now be able to go for a Heavy Slam, doing only 33%. That's all it does to the Tapu Fini. That is crazy. At this point in time, I imagine he just keeps Moonblasting. There's really no reason not to. Cradilly's going to try and take some hits, but at the end of the day, Fini's got pretty decent special attack. I know Cradilly gets Recover, but it could be pressured pretty easily. A couple special attack drops, a couple crits might really change the tide of the battle. But in comes the Cradilly, goes for Stockpile. Okay, interesting. I'm a little confused with why Stockpile's showing up here, but I mean, it gets a +1 defense and special defense boost. Now it's at +2 in both stats too. But what are we going to see here? An Apple Acid from the Appleton, lowering its special defense by 1, so it's going to have to continuously going for Stockpile to be able to make sure that you can survive. As a Rock Slide comes out and misses, don't think that would have mattered too much, as another Apple Acid comes out. Yeah, honestly, the The miss wrong side doesn't matter at all. I don't think in that situation. It's at +2 stockpile now, and you're going to see a recover. Honestly, the Appleton can just continuously go for Apple Acid. There's a crit and another special defense drop. I believe it's 100% guaranteed, the special defense drop on Apple Acid, so that's what we're expecting. But in comes a Glastrier, and Glastrier should be able to OHKO this thing with a Glacial Lance. I'm pretty sure it gets Glacial Lance in this form, but regardless, it's not going to appreciate this hit as it is outsped by the Appleton. And is it going to get the KO through the Thick Fats? Icicle Crash does not get the KO through the Thick Fats. There we go, and the Appleton looks like, oh, it's a speed tie. Wow. Okay, so his speed tie there ends up getting the KO. That really sucks. Having the Appleton around to take care of the Cradilly would have been really handy, but unfortunately not. But in comes the Dracovish on the Bronzong here, as the Bronzong is going to go for an Earthquake, doing only about a quarter to the Dracovish, and Dracovish can basically pick up a kill right here, as I imagine just wants to scout and see what he's going to do, as there is a Fish's Rend coming out, so we kind of expected that. But he goes into the Feeny here. At this point, I don't think interesting. I don't think the Bronzong had a lot of use, and now you're basically sacking off your Feeny. Instead of taking 2 hits, you're only going to take 1. So interesting. But in comes the Cradilly here, as it's going to be trying to take a Moonblast as it gets a special attack drop from the Feeny, which doesn't really matter too much. Honestly, and there's a taunt. Beautiful, great play there from the taunt. Okay, weakening the Cradilly is huge. We know right now it has 3 moves. It has Stockpile, it has Recover, and it has Rock Slide. Does it have a Grass move? And the answer is going to be yes, it does. It has Power Whip, and that is huge because at this point in time, the Feeny is not going to be able to take a hit from the Dracovish. We're going to see here. It honestly looks like it's going to come down to, this is what it's going to come down to. Will the Hail Core put in the work against Lucas, or will Dracovish and Diancie be the answers to this game? So we'll see here. But in comes the Diancie. Diancie should be able to eat anything here. It's going to go for whatever it's going to go for, maybe a Mystical Fire or a Moonblast. As it goes for a Moonblast here. Critical hit there doesn't really matter, especially if it has Moonblast, so we'll see. There's the Mystical Fire. I meant Mystical Fire, said Moonblast, but you guys get what I mean. So down goes the Bronzong, and let's see what comes out here. Here's the Vanillex. Vanilla should be able to take any hit, fire off what is it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Aurora Veil here, as we are going to see a Blizzard come out. Interesting when there's a Freeze Dry option right there. Very surprised, but regardless, this should get the KO on, as it is Scarfed. Potentially, I want to say it is, but it looks like it is because I'm pretty sure that would have been a Scarfed Dracovish. But in comes the Diancie, as it is going to be taking out of Blizzard. Now we know for a fact it is Scarfed, no freeze there, as we're going to see a Rock Polish, and this might just be the game. Oh my god, the fact that he was unable to get a Flash Cannon off on it is huge. Diamond Storm comes out, it kills the Vanillex, and is Diancie just going to reverse sweep here? It looks like it's going to have to miss a Diamond Storm, or there's going to have to be some protection shenanigans, or it's going to, that's it. No, it's game, right? This is going to be game. Yeah, well done to Lucas, getting a 2-0 win, reverse sweeping with Diancie. If there was 2 more turns of Hail Up, you could have been able to do it, maybe. But I mean, at this point, you're out of sacks. It made things really hard, Zane. But regardless, great game, guys. 2-0 win for Lucas and his Hellblaze Volcarona. Very surprising based on how the game was going early on. But a couple of plays here and there made things really difficult. Honestly, if the Feeny had just not taken the first Fish's Rend, if the Bronzong just got sacked to it, I think things would have been a lot easier, especially you just go into the Vanillex right there and just click buttons. It would have been so much easier for you. But hey, you live and you learn. You make bad plays and get better at the game. That's what happens. So end of the day, 2-0 win for just Lucas and his Hellblaze Volcarona, and we can move on now to our next game, which is going to be, 1 second, I have to get it for you guys. I can see it myself, but I gotta make sure you guys can see it too. And boom, there we go. So looking at this matchup, we have Chobby against PV, bro. Now, this matchup, I actually haven't looked at the matchup yet, so I'm looking right now, and even, wow, that's crazy. Feraligatr is one of those mons I just never really think of when it comes to draft, but it's so good, especially with Sheer Force. Okay, so looking at the matchup here, Lopunny really is tough to deal with on PV's side. Thank God he has a Zapdos. Without Zapdos, it would be really difficult to beat. Avalugg as well, to an extent, because it does get access to Sturdy, but it also is super bulky on the physical side. And Alakazam could be an annoying Pokemon because of the Sash Magic Guard, so you never know with that. Tailglow is cut from the game, so Manaphy does not get access to that. And Mawile could be very threatening to Chobby's team outside of something like the Corviknight, even though it does get access to Thunder Punch. I think the Sun option that Chobby has is going to be incredible against PV, so we'll see if he's going to be able to stop her offensive prowess. And yeah, look, I'm confused by this matchup a little bit because there's a lot of really good Pokemon on Chobby's team that they could bring. So GOTW as well is one of them. That is Shadow Tag GOTW. If you trap something in, it's going to be very difficult for PV to be able to handle things, especially if it's something like the Zygarde. If Zygarde gets trapped in and it can't set up, GOTW can really just wear it down effectively and ideally go for the game there against it. We'll see what happens though. There's a couple mons on PV's team that can be taken advantage of. If it's not running something like U-turn, it can be very difficult. So we'll see what happens. If I had to pick a couple Pokemon that I think are going to do really well in this matchup, I think that Lopunny is very good, of course. Lopunny is incredible in this matchup, outspeeding everything on PV's team. The fact that it gets U-turn now is huge, so you can just U-turn out on the Alakazam, so it has to be Scarf now to handle you, and that's very big. Other than that, Nidoking can be very strong. If it comes in something like the Mawile or the Zygarde, actually probably the Zygarde, considering it would have enough speed for the Nidoking, but if it comes on something like the Mawile or the Marowak or the Fortress to an extent, with the Sturdy that's been popped, it can really put in a lot of work. Other than that, I don't think Mimikyu is that great here, to be honest. I love the ability for Sun this matchup. It can be very strong with Weather Ball to be able to hit things like the Mawile, you have Sludge Bomb for things like the Zapdos. Zygarde kind of checks it decently well, but you have access to Giga Drain, which you'll be able to take some hits. You are part grass, you're only getting hit neutrally by 1,000 arrows, and because you're a starter, you have pretty good balanced stats all around, so ideally the Venusaur can take a couple hits from the Zygarde. And then there's Sneasel as well. Sneasel kind of, it scares the Zygarde away a little bit. Honestly, if I was PV, I don't think I would run a Dragonite set this week. The reason for that is because Sneasel can just come in and click Ice Shard, so maybe I run a Coil set, or maybe I run a Subtoxic set, or a Sub-Glare set, who knows. But regardless, it's still a very strong Pokemon in this matchup. Corviknight can wall a good bit. Honestly, if the Corviknight is in against the Marowak or the Zapdos, it's going to be in trouble, but against everything else, it should be pretty solid here. Yeah, kind of just some jumbled thoughts here, but at the end of the day, it's a really interesting matchup. I don't really see a clear team that has a very big advantage off the top of my head. So we'll have to see. The Blissey is going to be a big thorn in the side for PV, unless it's the setup Zygarde or Mawile. So yeah, I mean, if I had to pick 6, let's see. I think Mawile, Corviknight. No, not what am I saying? Not Mawile, Corviknight. I'm thinking Lopunny, Corviknight are really good brings here, as well as the GOTW, another one. I think the Suncore, that's 5, and then I'll pick Sneasel as well as a backup. It could just be really good. It's very good against a lot of the good members of PV's team, so we'll see, but it is pretty weak. So again, we'll see how it goes, and it does outspeed a lot, by the way. As for PV's team, I'll say Mawile, Zygarde, Zapdos are all must-brings, are all really good in this matchup, in my opinion. They all really handle their business extremely well. Other than that, I think something like the Alakazam as a Sashmon to be able to take a hit from the Venusaur and Sun and fire back a Psychic and Oko would be absolutely massive. Other than that, I'm thinking something along the lines of, I think Masquerain with webs could be very nice. Yes, it does. Yes, the Chobby's team does have an amazing defogger in Corviknight, but it's only one defogger. And if you play it right, PV, then you just bring in Zapdos or Marowak, and you can really take advantage of it, getting a KO on it eventually, really forcing his team to pivot around extremely well. So we'll see what happens, but I think PV's team being the Mawile, Zygarde, Zapdos, Alakazam, Masquerain as 5, and then I'll say Marowak is number 6 as well. So because if it gets off some Sun boosted Flare Blitz or Flame Charges or whatever, it's going to be a pain. So that's it. We'll see what happens in the battle. Let's go ahead and show you what the matchup is, and boom, there we go. So looking at the matchup that we see here, I'm looking at it. Chobby's team ends up being very, okay, interesting. No, what are we missing here? We're missing if I go back to the team, we're missing the Corviknight, so no defog on this roster. Interesting. Blissey is here though. Blissey is fat and annoying. Kind of checks a couple different things. And wow, interesting. PV's team is also really different than what I expected. No Zygarde. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, looking at it, I'm very surprised with the teams, but the GOTW really looks like it can go in. Problem is, it can't really take advantage of anything specifically unless the Fortress doesn't have like Volt Switch or something, or the Manaphy isn't a setup variant, or it doesn't have U-turn. That's pretty much it. It might be able to trap something and force it to go for a U-turn and then be able to get off big damage against something else, so that's a possibility as well. But Sun really just rips his team apart, so I'm very curious to see how PV is going to handle it. Maybe it's going to be like an Assault Vest Scrafty, who knows. Regardless, at the same time, once the Sun Core goes in, then Feraligatr can just sweep the game here. I'm honestly looking at this, and without Zygarde, it's looking like, I honestly believe that Chobby's going to pick up the win this game. If I were the lead in this matchup, I would say I'm going to lead off with Lopunny, I'm going to lead off with Fortress as PV. So let's go ahead and see what happens. And good luck, have fun to both competitors. As it's Manaphy versus Lopunny, so 1 out of 2 rights. And we're going to see a fake out here, I believe, as we are correct with the fake outs. And Manaphy shouldn't drop to this, as it ends up being a Scarf Manaphy. Very nice. And it's a Power Punch we see, so that's a waste right there. very unfortunate, but there's going to be a switch out into the GOTW here. Now, this is trapped, and is this going to be the game here, honestly? Because this is exactly what you don't want to do. Yeah, look, guys, this might be the game. I'll be honest here. I'm very surprised to see how they're going to come through, unless there's a crit. But that's, yeah. Did you guys really do this to me? Make me sit through GOTW stall and show you guys why, or not arena trap, but shadow tag should be banned. Look, I'm, he's going to get the blood 6 here. Yeah, there's really no need for commentary at all because that's what we're going to see here. We're going to see it get to +6. We're going to see it put in a lot of work, and honestly, probably going to rest up here as he goes for a Thunder Wave. So no rest, so it may not be the end of the game. I think he's trying to get some really good luck with paralysis, which would make some sense to kind of get some recovery back, and it doesn't look like he's getting it. We're going to see, is there going to be a crit here? Yeah, he's totally going for paralysis luck to get some recovery back, as we're going to see another Dazzling Gleam come through. No crit this time, and there's a Thunderbolt to get the KO. So the GOTW is going to be at 43%. Physical attacker comes in. We'll see what happens. It's a Dragon Dance Scrafty. That is the wrong idea there. You're taking a +6. Oh, it's sashed. That's why. Great bring. Wow. Being sashed there as a way to protect yourself is very nice. And you didn't bring any rockers, so, or you did bring a rocker potentially in Blissey, but damn. That's unfortunate for Chabi getting to +6, just not having the right moves to cover. Insane. But the Rock Helmet's going to come out and be able to chip down the Lopunny extremely well. That's great. So, oh my, and the spike on the prediction too, beautiful. So I'm going to pause here because it's important to note. The Lopunny now has to deal with the spike. It can't go for any attack safely because the Fortress is just there to click literally any attack, or just not literally any attack, but just come in and just be there. That's it. So I'm very impressed with PV, how they've been able to turn this game around, especially considering the Lopunny. And yes, there is a sash, Scrafty in the back, I get that, but at the same time, there's also a sturdy Fortress. So it looks like the team was prepared for very well. So even though Dazzling Gleam was locked into and it was looking bad, at this point in time, PV's in the driver's seat. So we'll see what happens here, but it looks like the Scrafty is going to be a sack here, I imagine, as it is going to just be a sack to the Flamethrower. So we'll see if this thing is going to be Heat Rock or anything, but in comes Alakazam as a nasty plot, and it's going to be taking a critical hit Flamethrower, and it is sashed. So in comes for Alligator. I guess this is a sack, maybe, as it is a sack. I don't know why this would be a sack and not something like the Lopunny, but hey, we'll see here. It's just going to switch out into the Fortress. There we go. Is it going to be a Fire Punch? No, it's going to be a Fake Out. So very interesting. You outsped. This is. So I'm going to pause it here. Chabi, ideally, you outsped. I believe Lopunny's 135 base speed, so you can probably even run Adamant. I have to double check that calc, but still, if you have Fire Punch or a fighting move, you go for that 100 times out of 100. There's literally no reason not to. So I'm very surprised to see just a Fake Out, but it ends up costing you a little bit. You could have gotten a lot more damage off from the Fortress maybe, but at this point in time, you get some good luck because you're into the Ninetales now against the Fortress. You just click a fire move and you basically get a KO against something. So we'll see what happens, as it's going to get hurt by the spike, and it's going to be going for a, let's see, Flamethrower, and wow, another critical hit. How many crits is that going to be? And it outspeeds and gets the KO. So down goes the Zapdos, and at this point, everything's just going to drop. So you gotta switch out, sack off the Blissey. You gotta do that. Yeah, 100%. Reason for that is because you gotta make sure you have your Venusaur in the back as well with the max turn of Sun, so you can take advantage of it to the maximum potential. As we're gonna see a Seismic Toss come out on the Mawile here. So what we're gonna see here is going to be another Seismic Toss. So it's now gonna be okay. And there's a sub, and that's a terrible play. I'm sorry, there's a really bad play there, and I don't want to be rude or anything, but yes, you're gonna get the KO here with the Focus Punch, but going for the substitute there just it basically kills you. Maybe Play Rough would have gone, like 2 Play Roughs would have probably gone and done, to be honest. But is what it is. So we'll see here. Seismic Toss is going to come out. It's going to break the sub. Focus Punch is going to come out and destroy that Blissey. So at this point in time, it's 2v3, but the Ninetales is just going to go in. It's going to destroy things. As a Sucker Punch comes out, and it just barely survives. It barely hangs on. Damn, if that Sucker Punch KO'd, I honestly think that Chabi might have been able to, might have lost the game there. But with the Venusaur here, it's going to be able to come in, it's going to be able to click Giga Drain or literally anything. As long as it has access to Weather Ball, it's fine. And there's the Weather Ball, and that should be the game, unless we know of some special tech and it's not a Chlorophyll Venusaur. So we'll see, but Weather Ball, there it is. And that's going to be a 1-0 win for Chabi. Honestly, a really weird game on both parts, but hey, you learn things from playing games. I definitely feel like The Lopunny was kind of played poorly a little bit, but it didn't end up mattering. The win was there, and you probably learned how to play with your Lopunny a little bit better and feel a bit more comfortable with it too. So that's definitely something you can take advantage of. As for PV side, you were at a deficit early on because of the Gothitelle, but I'm still really impressed with how you're able to bring it back with the Sash Scrafty, the Sash Dragonite Scrafty that is. Very, very cool. Unfortunately, it does suck that you were, I guess, forced into a position to lose a lot of your team to that and to the Lopunny, to the point where the Sun went in. But this is the thing, I was expecting Sun to put in a lot of work, and the fact that you weren't able to prepare around that is really unfortunate, because you could have definitely brought something like the Zygarde to take the hits. At this point in time, you had nothing on your team. Your entire 6 Pokemon that you brought, as I smack my mic, has nothing for the Sun. So I'm really surprised to not see the Zygarde, especially considering that your opponent didn't actually have an Ice type outside of Sneasel, and you do have a couple decent ways to handle it, especially if you're bringing Manaphy. You could maybe run a more defensive Manaphy, so to take on the Sneasel with Rain Dance and Hydration and Rest, that's definitely a possibility as well. So hey, is what it is. Really good game. We'll see if these two match up in the playoffs. But yeah, guys, that is going to be the end of this battle. Let me know which battle was your favorite down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, as well as commenting what you guys thought of the two battles down there as well. I do want to say thank you guys. We've had an incredible surge in terms of views on the channel, in terms of likes, comments, and everything. I really appreciate all the comments. The food thing has done really well, so we'll do it again. If you guys have made it this far in the video, comment taco down below, and let me know what kind of taco is your favorite. Hard shell, soft shell, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. Make sure to tune back in on Saturday. We got the finals of the BBR going up. I actually have not played the game at this point in time, so we're gonna see what happens. But yeah, I mean, let's just have a great rest of your night, guys, a great rest of your day and everything, and I will see you guys on Saturday for the finals for the BBR. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.